Okay, we're set. Hello.
She's Laura.
Hi,
It's
Laura.
Nice
one
to
of-
meet you.
one of the monkey.
Yes. We've seen your picture and recognize you. Both of your reputation precedes both of you. So we're really grateful to have you on the call today and to be able to ask these questions to you, because you guys are definitely you know, a bit of the hot kids on the block, so to speak. So we're really excited to have you guys here.
The hot monkeys on the block.
Yeah. So we'd love to visit with you guys about that. So I know, Javier, that you've done work in, you know, the Val d'Aras, and as we were just speaking about all of the other places. So one of the things that we wanted to highlight is why Sierra de Gredos, and forgive me on my Spanish pronunciation, but what is it that makes that area? So we love to seek wines that have a sense of terroir, that really have that sense of place, and we find so much of that in your wine. And so we're curious, how did you guys come across and decide Sierra de Gredos to make your wine?
We didn't search to be in Sierra de Gredos, but one of our partners, David, other of the monkeys, was born in Cadalso de los Vidrios, and his family still live there. They have some vineyards that luckily they were not completely abandoned, or some of them also were working, but they took the grapes to the cooperative. So we met each other in 1995, 1996, more or less, because the four of us like go hiking in the mountains.
Okay.
So we met in the mountains. We began our relation, and I began to work like an enologist. Laura is also agronomic engineer and enologist like me. So one day, David told us, hey, please help me, because my aunt want to take out a vineyard. That vineyard was planted by my grandfather. It was an Albillo Real vineyard. So I don't want that. So please help me. And in that moment, we had very few time because our works. I had to work all the days for another company. So during the weekends, we began to recover that vineyard. In 2009, we made our first and worst Albillo Real. So from that moment, we began to learn and making, I think, better things, quite better. And at the same time, one of the members of Commando G, you know Commando G?
Yes.
Is my brother. Fernando is my brother. So he began to work with Marañones also in Gredos. Since 2007, I began to taste the wines in that area. So we began to think that there was a very interesting area. It was quite near from our home. We also began to love that kind of wines, more to the Pinot Noir or a nice Cabernet Franc style, or Trousseau from Jura and so on. Very thin, straight, with a lot of fruit and very nice expression from terroir. So the day that David told us to begin with that, we had to do that. So we began. And we were elaborating till 2012 in another wineries, some part in Marañones, another part in some garage. In 2012, we rent a winery, and we were compartides. We were sharing a space with another guy that makes wine for himself also in Cadalso. And in 2015, we began with the actual winery. We rent an old building with more than 60 years. We have made a new building with boot tanks, with also stainless steel tanks, a small one, and also this winery had several concrete tanks with more than 60 years, and we use 4 of them.
Okay.
We can use 4 of them.
So you all met hiking in Sierra de Gredos on the GR10, right? And just for the audience listening, GRs are a network of trails, walkable trails all throughout Europe, and they all have a number attached to them, but they're all interconnected. You can travel literally north to south, south to east, west, you name it, all over, and you can walk all of those. So they're pretty fascinating. It's a fascinating network altogether.
Yeah.
We worked some of it here and there for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
And also you mentioned Commander G. I just also want to share with the audience, your brother, Fernando, who's in partnership with Danny Landy, and we are recording this ahead of our tasting, but as I mentioned to you, we'll be also opening Uva de la Ira from Danny Landy, which that's Danny Landy's winery, but him himself is in partnership with your brother. So it's very interconnected. You all have sort of created a bit of a circle there, and you, I must say that all of you are getting quite the attention all over the US, but also all over the world, as it turns out.
Yeah, and so with that, and in focusing on Grenache, so definitely, you know, us having tasted Grenache from all over the world, and just realizing kind of the uniqueness that yours is offering and delivering. And I know that some people have compared it that you guys are using more of a Burgundy approach as far as your winemaking. And I wanted to hear from you directly. How do you feel about that statement that's being made, and what would you consider, you know, your approach with your winemaking?
I think that when you like a wine or a kind of wine, a kind of elaboration, it's normal that the wines that you do are more similar to that style. If you love wines with a lot of wood and a big concentration or maduration and so on, you make another style of wine. There are also in Gredos, there are some projects in this other style. So not all the wines made in Gredos are like in that Pinot Noir style. So I think that's a part. Also, Garnacha over granite soils has this other expression. Okay, it's not the same. The Garnacha from schist soil or slate soils, or with clay or so on, are completely different. Normally, are a bit wider with wider mouth, with more concentration of flavors and so on. Yeah. Normally with granite, that the expression is a bit lighter, and overall it's more straight and quite quicker. Also depends of the moment that you pick the grapes. If you make the harvest with 16 degrees of alcohol, like traditionally were made in our area, you obtain a different product. Yeah. So we try to do fresher wines with more fruit and focused in freshness and also in net terroir expression.
Absolutely.
So since we're talking about the fruit itself, I know you guys have done work. You're doing some work currently in Valderoas. It turns out that we had a Zoom series tasting recently where we covered Galicia, and we did
Rio Baixo.
we did Ribera Sacra, Ribeiro, and Valderoas. We talked about Ria Baixas also, but we had a Vina Simosa open also, which is Mencia in my case. We know you work also in Rioja with Tempranillo, and you're there with Grenache in Serra de Gredos. There's also a little bit of other varietals there, which you use some of them, and they come into small percentage into your blend. And can you describe the reason for the addition? And do you have those vines as old vines too? Are you utilizing them for a very specific purpose? And for um, our clients here are, can you describe what the other varietals are doing, the Carignan and the Syrah, for example?
Okay, the Carignan overall gives to the Garnacha a bit more of acidity, and it pushes up the fruit sensation for our like. And also the Carignan is a reductive variety. And Grenache, everybody knows that it's a bit oxidative in sensation, so it gets a bit balanced or naturally balanced with Carignan. And Syrah makes the wine a bit more round, easy to understand. But it's time we use less, because also change a bit the profile of the Grenache that we like in Gredos.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And on the GR10, just to pass the information, that there's only 5% of each of those two grapes combined into 90% of Grenache, but they still have an impact just with that little of a percentage base. So.
And
which vintage do you have now?
The GR10 has about 5%. Would you say?
No, but depends on the year. But normally it's 10-12% between Carignan and Syrah.
Right.
2018, that is the last one that we are selling. It has 10% of Carignan and 2% of Syrah.
Okay. Very good.
88 from Grenache.
Okay. And the Carignan is from younger vines, is that correct?
Yeah, it's around 30 to 35 years old vine. Are not too young. Let's say
yeah.
that they are going toward a medium age.
Yeah. And then the Grenache vines, how many years average?
Yeah, the younger vine of Grenache that we have, it's around 45, but it's only one. The rest has more than 60 years old. Yeah, really old. Yeah, from 60 years old till 102 years old.
Yeah. Since we're on the vines and the land is, I've seen some pictures. It looks pretty precarious at some places and very hard to manage, I imagine. So it's all and labor as we know it, but I mean, you have boulders literally of granite in between vines at times, and even for a horse might be even challenging, to say the least.
We work some vineyards with the horse, but not all of them. Very few in our case. Only the vineyards that are very high, and the access to the vineyard is really difficult. The rest of the vineyards we work with a tractor. Also, in the vineyards that are very difficult because they have a lot of pendiente slopes are very steepy, that are very steepy. In those cases, are worked or with a horse or by hand. Okay. Because sometimes you can carry also a horse there. We also have a vineyard that the lines between one line of vineyard and the other, it's so
narrow,
close and so close that also the horse has no space to pass through. So that vineyard is worked by hand.
Okay. Do you? I want to ask we hear over here it's actually becoming pretty hard to find your wines or some of your brother's wines and or Denny Landy's that gain more, and we hear that Madrid tends to drink most of it before it has a chance to leave the market. So are you as popular in Madrid or in Spain as you are outside of the country, Do you have a market that is divided?
Yeah, we sell almost all the production out of Spain. We sell more than 80% of our production out of Spain.
Okay.
Yeah. We still live with very classical kind of customer here, where Rioja, Ribera del Duero, and Rueda are the three stars of consuming in Spain. So it's difficult to sell in Spain this kind of new conception. Well, not new in Spain, but it's a common conception in other parts of Europe, but not here. So we have to work double to make understand one of our bottles here than out of Spain.
But
it's like that.
Sorry, it's interesting you call it a new concept, but it's a pretty ancient concept, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Back to the roots.
To the root of the sources of making wine.
You'll convince them eventually.
But not too quickly.
Yeah,
okay.
We're happy.
It's okay. Let's enjoy it a little bit.
No, but there are enough vineyards in Gredos to recover, to make more wine. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we would like to. It would be a big pleasure to be able to manage 45 hectares instead of 20. That is what we are working now, because we could maintain a bigger quantity of landscape. Also the landscape, it's very important for us. I don't know if you know that last summer we had a very big fire in Cadalso de los Vidrios, in our village, and also in the two villages next to ours. The fire was not bigger thanks to the vineyards that were cultivated with nice crop, with correct crops like ours or Commando G's ones, because the fire didn't go across these vineyards. So we could save a big part of the landscape of the area because of this. So it would be a big pleasure to have more vineyards very well cultivated like us. So the rest of the landscape also would be better.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you both too, Laura, if you don't mind as well. What is your favorite part about winemaking and the whole process? What do you enjoy the most?
I can tell you which is the not favorite. It's the paper.
Yeah, that question's a good one too. I actually usually ask that one.
I like most of all the work because I like basically doing all the work and in the winery and also in the vineyard. So I have not pruning maybe.
Right.
I like pruning. I love a lot the vineyards, but I like most of all, except the papers.
What she does most.
Yeah. The work.
Unlikely.
I can relate.
I'm there with you. Yeah.
Unfortunately. And so husband and wife working together too. I want to ask you guys about that, but Javier, what is your favorite part or the whole process and in itself?
With what I enjoy more, because I feel more relaxed, is with the pruning. That's the moment that I prefer during all the year, because you don't have to go with hurry, to be in a hurry continuously, because you can prune quietly and thinking what you are doing. I also like the cold. So in those moments, are cold days, you get your good coat and a nice hat and begin to prune.
The meditation a little bit.
And also a very good, or a moment that gives me a nice satisfaction is when you taste the wines in the barrel after 4-5 months, around March, and you begin to see the work that you did the year before. that's an exciting moment too.
Yeah, very
I'm sure.
rewarding.
I'm sure.
And the two of you working together. Oh yes, go ahead, please tell me.
I like to, because I have to go to pick up our kid, so to the school.
Okay.
So I have to go. Nice to meet
Laura.
So
you.
nice to meet
Hope
you.
to
Thank
visit you
so
there
much.
sometime soon.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Thank
that's
you.
Yes,
absolutely
please.
possible. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Laura.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And I have one last question, I think, and we'll close the recording for now. But so you are in a world of viticulture, enology in general. So is Laura also. So is your brother. How did that all came together at a younger age? What was the inspiration for all of you to take that route?
We all of us like the environment and the agriculture, but at the beginning we were not thinking in wine. When I began to study agronomic engineer, or Laura the same, and my brother similar, we were not thinking in making wine. Also, our grandparent had some vineyard in La Mancha, and 2 or 3 years ago, my father told us that the dream of my grandfather was to have a winery.
Okay.
Oh, really?
But we didn't know. We
You
didn't know.
didn't know that. Okay.
We didn't know. But I don't know. It's a bit of the how you say el destino. It's our destination. Yeah,
Listening.
the fate. The fate.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the fate.
And your grandfather would be very proud too.
I suppose.
Yeah.
With a completely different style and in a different place, because it was in the middle of La Mancha in a very flat place.
Yeah. It's very well.
But,
So we'll wrap it up on the recording. We'll catch up with you in just a minute with maybe a few more questions that we'll be able to share some information with our guests.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.